Okay, here we go. Wednesday Evening Encore. Hope everyone is doing well. So, here's the hook. 90% of women entrepreneurs underprice themselves. 90% of women entrepreneurs underprice themselves, and they still get ghosted. Let that sink in for a second. 90% of women entrepreneurs underprice themselves and still get ghosted. Let that land for a second. You can be a brilliant, you can be consistent, even charismatic, and still hear crickets. But tonight, on this episode of Wednesday Evening Encore, we're going to fix that. We're going to fix that. Because this isn't about hustle, it's about triggers. And the difference between ignored and irresistible is 3 seconds. It's 3 seconds. I gave you, and you're probably wondering, Chris, what the heck are you talking about? Welcome to Wednesday Evening Encore. I am Christopher D. Thomas. And if you're a woman entrepreneur that's building a brand that commands yes, even when the algorithm thinks or tanks, you're in the right room. Because in today's economy, we don't sell products, we sell decisions. And decisions, my friend, are emotional. Yes, decisions are emotional. So imagine you had 3 seconds. You're on an elevator with your dream client. You could say one thing, that one tag, that one phrase, that one offer either gets you a yes or it gets you forgotten. What's the what's what is missing or what is needed? I'm going to call it neuro-pricing and how to make that one thing hit. So here's the problem. Here's the silent frustration that many, and we already talked about what it was 90% of women entrepreneurs. You're posting, you're showing up, you're adding value, but people aren't clicking. They aren't clicking. They are not buying. And so what happens deep down inside, we begin to wonder, is it me? Am I too much? Am I too playful? Am I too serious? Am I too small? No, you're not too anything. You're just not triggering the decision-making part of the brain fast enough. Let's dig down into the problem a little bit more. There's a difference between sales and also marketing. Sales feels like pulling teeth. Your offers get ignored. Your visibility isn't translating into revenue. And I'm with you. I've had the experience. That can be, actually not can be, it is exhausting. That's when we start to doubt ourselves. We start to trigger inside. And remember, we're talking about emotions now. We're talking about emotions. We start to trigger that doubt that's inside. And some people will debate me as far as doubt being an emotion, but it is in this particular case. We start doubting ourselves, and then we start to, and some even that imposter syndrome. Then we begin to say, okay, well, let me rewrite the captions. And then we write the captions 9, 10, 11 times or more and still holding up or still feeling like, hey, this is not working. Then we go through that launch and then no one shows up. Meanwhile, it appears that someone else who has half your brilliance and the graphics is not all that tight are getting paid. Here's the solution. We're going to call it neuro-pricing that flips the script. It's not about it's not just about what you're selling. It's about how the brain hears it. The words that trigger that yes before that logic kicks in. You know, we're about to give you those words right now. So, we're going to talk about next what to do, when to do it, why it works, and what to expect when you do all of this. All right. So, what do you do? When we put a package together, our pricing is extremely important. The price, the package, the pitch must come from a decision triggering tag. Something that makes the emotional part of the brain nod before the logical one wakes up. Now, when do you do that? Some of you may have heard or even may even have what's called a funnel. Now, this needs to be done before you build the funnel, right? As far as how you're going to price this, how you're going to package, and how you're going to pitch it. This needs to be done before the funnel. Before you touch that particular offer, you want to start baking in the pricing psychology into the name, into the message, into the transformation promise, not into the technology part of it. Now, why does that work? 95%, and this is from research that I've done, right? 95% of all buying decisions are subconscious. So that means, and right about now, in this day and age, um, I would have put that percentage a little bit higher, but being that where we are right now, the world is changing and people are holding back some of those funds. So that's why I'm gonna still put it at about 95%. 95% of all buying decisions are subconscious. People are still buying. It may not necessarily be purchasing the larger ticket type of things, but many buying decisions. I just bought some sunglasses the other day. It was on my brain. I've been talking about some sunglasses, want some glasses that I can actually wear. And it almost seemed like the algorithm was hearing me because it somehow brought up the exact sunglasses and I hadn't done any type of searching or anything. It brought some sunglasses up and I was able to buy them almost immediately without even, it was just, I just did it. So I am an example of the way buying decisions can work. And some, depending on the price, can be very subconscious. Most of them, many of them. All right. So that means you can't reason someone into a yes. You have to trigger it. Now, what to expect when you do all of that? Well, you're going to expect a yes even faster. You're going to expect shorter sales cycles. You're going to expect higher perceived value from your clients. People saying, I don't even know what it is, but I know I need it. So that's what you can expect. That particular part. That's the game. So here's an example of a client that we work with. This client that I had was a is, because, she's still in business, is a powerhouse coach who couldn't sell her $497 program. What we did, it was priced good. We renamed it using a neuro-pricing, a neuro-pricing formula, uh, changed two lines of her sales page, and she did $4,300 in 72 hours. No, it was not magic. It was brain science. So if your offer isn't getting traction, don't scrap it. We've been talking about offers over the past couple of weeks. Don't scrap that particular offer. Reshape how it's heard. That's where the power lives. Reshape how it's heard. And if you're serious about stepping into that power, I want you to check out what I call the reinvent, the transformation system for entrepreneurs. No, it's not a course. It's not a group chat. It's a reset. And it's a reset for the way that you see your brand, you see your worth, you see your value, the way the market sees you back. The link is actually in the description, and it's not going to be there forever. Those of you who are on Instagram, you'll see that link in the bio section of bio section on Instagram. Those of you who are watching on YouTube or will be watching on YouTube, because it'll be on repeat, you'll be able to see the link in the description. So if you want more neuro-pricing examples, and you want to see, how to apply this, into your websites, into your emails, into your offers, we have tons of information that's very quick, easy to read, how to, why to do it, and what to do. Simply head over to our blog section on nmmgroup.com, nmm.group, and then click on the blog section, and you'll be able to see more information about that particular blog. And if you're ready to work one-on-one, I have a free 15-minute consultation link. This is your invitation, but it's also your test. Will you pause the pattern or repeat it? Will you pause the pattern or will you repeat it? Those of you, as I mentioned, on IG, the link is in my bio. Those of you who are here on YouTube, visit the links that are in the description. Now, next week, we're going to dive into what I am going to call data fusion, data story fusion, cold stats versus hot sales. So all of you have some data and some stats. If you have a website, if you're on e-commerce, now whether if you know how to read those stats, or not, if you're applying what you're learning from those stats, those hits from those visits from your website, then that's another conversation, right? However, with those of you, and you even have data, even if you don't have a website, and you have if you're only using Instagram, Facebook, or some other form of social media, if you have the professional business version of it, you have some stats there as well. So we're going to talk about next week's episode, the data story. What is that data telling you? Cold stats to hot sales. If you've ever struggled to turn testimonials or analytics into sales, you don't want to miss that particular episode. So make sure that you follow, share, save this session, turn on notifications, because next Wednesday, I don't just drop content. We're going to drop conversions. And for the women who are watching who been given discounts, and don't get noticed, just know that the next yes you trigger could change everything.